Hey, what's up everybody? I want to do a quick review or overview of my PRK eye surgery. Um, I did a lot of video watching before I went and got my PRK done and thought I'd contribute to the collection of PRK videos out there and maybe give you my view. Um, so PRK is different than LASIK. LASIK, they laser or cut a flap into your eye, pull it open, laser, correct your vision, and then shut the flap, and the healing's pretty quick, a couple of days, and you should be pretty good to go. With PRK, it's essentially the same thing, except for they don't cut a flap, they completely remove that layer of your eye, and then they laser correct it, and then you have to regrow that back. So the recovery time difference is somewhere between a month to 6 months, depending upon how fast of a healer you are, and kind of how your eyes are, and maybe even how bad your prescription is before you go in for your surgery. So one thing that is different for me than a lot of people is my prescription was not bad. I was like a 1 or 2 with an astigmatism in both eyes, which is probably about a 1.2 or 1.5. So my experience through the doctor's visit on the day of was pretty normal compared to everybody else's. They give you a Valium or a medication to calm you down a little bit, and then they put in numbing drops and clean your eyes. I was led into the laser room where they then clamped my eye open, put a ring on, put this solution in to kind of eat away the top layer, and then they go in and kind of clean it off. They were kind of pulling and then pull it off, that top layer. And then they would laser the eye, cover the did the next one. After each time they lasered it, they put like a cooling solution on, which is very cold. And it's almost like you get a brain freeze. Then they put a bandage contact lens on, which is a clear contact lens. The epithelial layer, the piece that has to grow back, grows underneath that. It's a way to protect your eye. And then they put the antibacterial and numbing drops in again. So after my surgery's done, they took me back into the room, and they had me look into the machine that measures your eye, and they kind of look at the overall job they did. And the doctor said, and I quote, "Looks fine." So I was hoping for it looks excellent or great, but fine was what I got. So. Some of the preparation I did before I had my surgeries, I blacked out my bedroom. I put cardboard in the windows, tucked a blanket in around to get no light in. I know that light sensitivity was a big thing for a lot of people, so I wanted to make sure I was prepared. You don't have to fumble around trying to do stuff after your surgery, because things are pretty blurry for at least the first few days. It's kind of like you dive into a swimming pool and you come out and you immediately open your eyes and look, and it's just kind of watery blur. Your eyes will be tearing up a lot. And more liquidy than they normally would, because you're putting in so many eye drops. So I got my surgery done at 8 a.m. So I'm going to consider that to be day 1, because I have a whole day of recovery right after the surgery. So day 1, no pain really. There was no pain during the surgery. A lot of people say when they get the surgery done, they get up and they look around like, oh, I can see everything. I didn't have that. It was actually slightly blurrier, or the same as when I did not wear my glasses. So I went home and took a nap. I slept for a couple hours. My doctor was pretty different than a lot, where he doesn't necessarily want you to go home and just do nothing. He essentially said, if you're up for it, you can watch TV, you can do all these activities. Just don't get anything in your eye, no water. You may have to wear sunglasses if you go outside for the next 6 months, essentially. They don't want the UV rays from the sun to create a haze on the epithelial layer that's growing back. PRK haze is a thing. But I just took it easy, tried not to use my eyes. I didn't use my phone, didn't read a computer. And I work in IT, so computers are my life. I have to be able to read a computer screen, so that was a little bit of a fear going into this as well. I took a full week off of work, actually 8 days total. So I'm on my 8th day now. So day one, like I was saying, no pain after surgery. I went home, took a nap. I didn't have any pain during the day. I was putting my drops in, put in antibacterial drops. I put in steroid drops. And for the first 3 days, I was putting in NSAID, which are like pain relief drops. I put those in every 4 hours during the waking hours. The most annoying thing is having to sleep with the lenses that are taped to your eyes. A lot of people get goggles, but they said they had experience with the goggles rolling up and causing issues. And the taped on lenses were more effective. And they didn't come off when I slept. It's annoying to try to sleep with that. The whole time on day one and day two, I wore sunglasses that they had provided to me, the really dark black ones. So I was light sensitive, but with those, it wasn't crazy. I could keep my eyes open. I didn't really want to open them a lot. I wanted to rest them. They felt like they were tired. So I did that. Day two was pretty close to day one. My eyesight got a little bit worse on day two, a little bit blurrier. Light sensitivity was the same. I just essentially sat in the dark room, listened to a book on tape. I'd venture out and get water or whatever I needed. They did say to keep yourself hydrated and also to take vitamin C, but I was taking vitamin C and omega and regular vitamins, so just to make sure I had enough vitamins in me to get me going. So day two was fine. My eyes did feel slightly more burny, like they were dried out a little bit more, but when I put the drops in, that definitely helped. I did get pain on day two. A lot of people said it was like pass out, like incredible. This is the worst pain I've ever had in my life. I didn't experience that, although some people do have that. One thing that my doctor said is right after day one, if you don't get a lot of pain on day one, you're most likely not going to get pain on day two or day three, which I thought was interesting. I'm not sure how truthful that is, but when I talked to him on my day after appointment on day two, he asked me if I had pain, and I said no, and he said that I probably won't have to have any. So, like I was saying, right at midnight, I had been sleeping, and I woke up, and I could feel in just my right eye, it felt like somebody had jabbed me in the eye, and it hurt, it burned. It wasn't like pass out, I just couldn't open it. It would water a lot. So I took, I had Norco pain relievers, which is hydrocodone and acetaminophen, which was prescribed to me by the optometrist, and then also the NSAID drop. I put an extra drop in. About 45 minutes later, I was able to fall asleep, and when I woke up on day three, it was gone. So that was the only pain I experienced. I might just be lucky, but something to keep in mind. I was pretty fearful of the pain. I heard a lot of people say that was pretty terrible. So on day three, things did get a little bit better. It was still pretty blurry. I had a little bit of the burning sensation in my eyes. The thing that was most annoying to me is I don't wear contacts. I never did. I always wore glasses. And to have the bandage contact lenses in, every time I would blink, I could feel my eyelids hit those contact lenses. It gave me the sensation of something in my eye. And when my eyes got a little bit drier, it definitely got worse. So something to keep in mind: if you keep those wet, you might be able to minimize the sensation of having something in your eye. Day four, my vision was a little bit better. I could start to make out stuff on my phone. I could read a computer screen, but it was still pretty bright. The light sensitivity was pretty bright. Even when I had everything on dark mode, I couldn't do it for more than 20 minutes on day four. Day 5 and 6 were essentially the same. There wasn't a lot going on. I didn't go outside and do a lot of activities. I just hung out. I could start to watch TV. I tried to watch a football game and that was a little bit difficult after about the first hour and a half, just because you're not used to having to focus. Essentially, it's like watching without your glasses on and your eyes dry a little bit. You have to kind of squint to focus a little bit more, and so it got a little tough, and I just didn't want to have to watch it. Things that were weird though is like the light would bother me if it was in the corner of my eye. Like if there was a light coming through a window onto the ground and it was bright, I would want to cover that up or wear sunglasses. On day 7, I went back to the doctor's office and they took out my bandaged contact lenses. And one thing I forgot to mention is the reason why I didn't wear contacts is I can't touch my eye. I'm super freaked out about it. And when I was a little kid, we'd go to the sand dunes and you'd get sand in your eye and you couldn't rub it and you have to blink it out. And it still makes my eye water a little bit when I think about it. So I never wore contacts because of that. And so having the contact lenses in was odd, and getting them out was very odd. It didn't hurt. The doctor came in and he looked at my eyes to make sure the layers were fine, and he said that I was healing well. I did the eye test before they pulled them out, and I was seeing 20/20, although blurry. So it's kind of like your eyes are a little lazy, and it's hard to focus, but what I was getting was ghosting. I could see that if I closed one eye, I would ghost off to the right, and if I closed my right eye, I'd ghost off to the left out of my left eye. So that made reading things a little bit blurry. I could read, I could use a computer, I could do all that stuff, but after a while, my eyes would get tired. So like I was saying, I had 20/20 vision. I could read it. They gave me a paper to read up close, cover your eye, and I read that. I could read the 20/20, and I could make out most of what was on the 20/15, which is a big deal for me. When you have astigmatism on both eyes, everything's blurry all the time, no matter what. So that was nice. So when they took out the bandaged contact lenses, everybody always talks about it. They never say what they did. For what my doctor did, he had a pair of tweezers, metal tweezers that he pulled out of a bag that were sterile, and he had me look down, and then he took the tweezers and pulled the contact lens off, and it was like a suction cup. It felt a little funny because it's the first time that air hits your new skin layer. So it didn't hurt, but it felt odd. If one thing I noticed is my eyes did feel a little bit drier that day. So my vision was still essentially the same. And as the day goes on, the vision will fade a little bit. It'll get blurrier. My eyes get tired. And I've noticed that when I wake up, my vision's a little better. One thing that I haven't experienced is a lot of people said that when they wake up, their eyes are really dry and they kind of sting a little bit. I haven't had that. I did have, when I had the bandaged contact lenses in on day 3, a little bit of pain when I woke up. It's like it would stick. If I put an eye drop in, that would go away pretty quick. So right now I'm on day 8. And today when I woke up, my vision was well. It's still a little blurrier, and it'll probably improve over the next month. Using a computer, I could go back to work today. I don't have a ton of blurry vision. I don't have to blow my font up or anything or any of that. I can read it as if it was my normal use when I was wearing my glasses. So I'm still putting the drops in every hour, the preservative-free drops. And I still have steroids that I put in every 4 hours. And I'll be doing that for the next month. And then a total of, after that, I have another set of drops that are less steroid to put in for a couple months after that as well. So they want you to keep doing the drops for a long time. So I got my vision done at Hoops Vision. I live in Utah. And it was great so far. Everybody was awesome, and I haven't had a ton of issues. I didn't have any problems putting the drops in. One thing that I had a hard time was my vision was so blurry and I was in a dark room that getting the drop into my eye was difficult. And so I would put it right here on the interior side of my eye, drip it, and let it roll in, and then I just let it roll around a little bit. Try to get the drop to stay in as much as possible. So I'll try to post a follow-up video if there's any big changes. But all in all, I'm happy, and I would do it again at this point. But like I said, there's still a lot of healing to go, and we'll have to see how it plays out. Driving at night and that kind of stuff, I haven't done a lot of that yet, so we'll have to see how that goes. Anyways, thanks for watching the video. Catch you in the next follow-up. Thanks.